she was a pit bull, who are deeply misunderstood. You know, people look at them, think they're scary and dangerous and whatever, and actually they just really want to be loved. And there was something about like the heaviness in their back haunches, like that I wanted her feet to be really, really heavy, which the ice skates helped with. Walking around ice skates, you just got weight on your feet. I just wanted her to always feel like the world was like, and, you know, even the jaw a little bit like, you know, so, yeah.
That's not what I thought you were going to say, but yeah. Did you find that your kind of process, the way that you approached each part changed? I mean, were you aware of yourself kind of growing as a performer?
Definitely. Every job that I did, I added like a new thing to my prep process. So, you know, I think as I went along, you just learn more. And then I was like, oh, wait. You know, dialect always was a crucial thing for me because I knew that I couldn't do an American accent when I was on Neighbours. So that's something I worked on for 2 years before I went to America. But then it was like working with an acting coach. And then, you know, an acting coach mentions like, oh, and some people do this kind of coaching or there's these classes. You know, anytime I heard anything like that, being conscious that I never went to a drama school, I'd always do lessons and stuff in my spare time. So my like prep process definitely evolved over the years, and now I do like a whole series of things before I prep for any role. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it changed with every job, and also every job and every character and every director demands something different of you. So I'm always very adaptable to what they want.
I read somewhere that you worked with a movement coach identifying animals. Is that a real thing?
Well, it's an animal. So I do a lot of animal work with a movement coach called Jean-Louis Rodrigue, who's wonderful. And you can do a number of things with movement coaching. You can work on archetypes, you can work with color and light and all sorts of things. But one aspect that I find really helpful, and the first time I started doing this was for Tonya, was to do animal work, where you pick an animal for your character and you study that animal and then you transform into that animal. Which sounds so ridiculous and actory, and I'm so happy no one ever sees me doing this other than Jean-Louis, because I'd look ridiculous. But I find it really helpful, and then slowly you come out of the animal until you have about 5% of the animal left over, which is hopefully subtle enough that people aren't going to be like, why is she doing that? But also significant enough that your physicality is altered with every
What was
role.
your Tonya animal?
She was a pit bull, and I ended up getting a pit bull after that because I fell in love with pit bulls. But she was also a wild horse, well, you know, a Mustang or a Brumby we say in Australia. When she was on the ice, she was a wild horse. Other than that, she was a pit bull, who are deeply misunderstood. You know, people look at them, think they're scary and dangerous and whatever, and actually they just really want to be loved. And there was something about like the heaviness in their back haunches, like that I wanted her feet to be really, really heavy, which the ice skates helped with. Walking around ice skates, you just got weight on your feet. I just wanted her to always feel like the world was like, and, you know, even the jaw a little bit like, you know, so, yeah.
You didn't know she was real when you first read the script, is that true?
I had no idea that Tonya Harding was a real life person, no. I thought this screenwriter is off the charts, nuts, so specific and weird, all these things that happened. And then I found out it was all true.
And then you went and met her.
Yeah.
And tell us about that experience. I mean, tell us about that meeting.
Yeah, it was great. It was, you know, I'd done a lot of my prep before meeting her intentionally. I didn't want the meeting to really lead, you know, the cart lead the horse sort of thing. We had a great script and we had a vision, you know, a director with a vision, and I wanted to service all those things. So it was more about filling in the gaps. I had a few questions where I was like, this is one aspect to her that I don't understand. And so I knew meeting her with her might help with that. And also as just a courtesy, just like as a courtesy to her, I suppose, to have that FaceTime together. So yeah, it was great. I got to kind of ask all my questions, and her answers and her just general demeanour was really enlightening and helpful.
And how much responsibility did you feel? I mean, you know, she presumably had read it.
Yeah, I did feel really responsible. It's different playing someone who's still alive. You know, I've played, you know, other people who are now dead. It's different knowing that someone's going to see it, and I guess all you can do is kind of let them know, like, I'm playing a character who is embodying the spirit of you, but you know, and that's all you can do, because also I can't be Sharon Tate, and I can't be Tonya Harding, and I can't be Queen Elizabeth, but all I can do, I think, is, you know, try and capture the spirit of them in some way, and also service the story in the film that you're trying to tell.
And did you meet Nancy and any of the other characters?
No, didn't meet Nancy, didn't meet Jeff, didn't meet anyone else. No.
And throughout, there's a real balance in there of kind of comedy and tragedy. And I mean, you were also a producer on this movie. This was your first, or the first big number.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
How easy was that balance to get right?
The balance wasn't the hard part. It was just a hard movie to make. You know, the reason we got that movie as such a young production company is because everyone else in town was like, it can't be made. It's just too specific, the humour, the tone, everything's very specific. And then also it's too ambitious. You've got 2 Olympics, you've got 200 and something scenes, it's a period piece. To do all that at the budget size that a film like this would kind of command is impossible. But we were young and dumb enough to go, I think we can do it. So we got it and we did it. And so yeah, that was a really hard one to produce because it was a lot to pull off. Like we were swinging for the fences and there was a big chance that we would miss. And
did you find there was a real conflict between you as a producer on one side and you as a performer on the other?
No, I feel like it actually really goes hand in hand. And I'm a better actor having known all the things. You just know so much more as a producer. It's not like you come in for the 3 months, well in this case 31 days that we shot. You know, if you come in just for that, that's all you know, whereas if you're on it for a year before and you're on it for a year afterwards, you just have so much more context and can be more helpful, I think. And then on the flip side, I think I can be more helpful as a producer when I'm also an actor. You know, I can say like, by the way, like morale's low right now. Let's have like a, you know, whatever, or like certain departments aren't, you know, whatever. You can be kind of helpful. But yeah, and as long as the director I'm working with isn't bothered by it, and Craig definitely wasn't, it's not a problem. It actually is really helpful.
And I've heard you say before that people think you're a kind of vanity producer.
Well, thankfully, after doing it enough times, people are like, "Oh no, she's an actual producer." Yeah, which is.
But where is your
good.
Producer mindset? Are you one of the kind of like hard-nosed business guys, or are you a kind of creative, nurturing script guy kind of type producer?
I'm a bit of both. I really do like the business side of it. I do like combing through a budget. I do enjoy it. I find the problem-solving aspect of that really fun and exciting. And then I definitely love the creative side. I do spend like, you know, years with writers, breaking story and, you know, whatever. But I do think I have quite a big, you know, asset in my problem-solving sort of aspect of the brain. So no, I like both. Yeah. And then of course you have to be practical at some point. You can't micromanage. You have to. I think one of the best things you can do as a producer is hire the best people, and then all you have to do is support them, give them everything they need to do the best job they possibly can. So at some point as a producer, you're just knowing when to take your hands off the wheel and just making sure that you're there and available if anyone needs you.
Mm-hmm. And the company's obviously kind of gone from strength to strength, and now, you know, you're commissioning stuff that's, you know, completely separate from you in a way. So, so for example, Promising Young Woman, which a lot of people don't know that it was your company, you produced it. How clear are you about the films that you should be in and the ones that you should just literally produce?
I mean, I always know when, and not just because we might be looking at it as a company, but just also when people send me scripts, like I just trust my instinct. Like I so often will get sent something and I'll be like, I'm not the right actress for this. Let me tell you the 3 people that I think you should be talking to. My teams are often like, why are you pitching other people for jobs? But I'm like, no, I'm telling you, I'm not the right person for this. Actually, Promising Young Woman is one of those cases where I was like, I love Emerald. We'd been, you know, following her for years and, you know, trying to support this film. And I was like, I know we could get this going quicker if I just signed on, but I just know I'm not the right. This won't be as surprising an experience for an audience member if I play Cassie. It just won't be. And then you get someone like Carey Mulligan, and I'm like, that is surprising. Like seeing Carey Mulligan in like a bandage dress with mascara down her face, what a joy. I mean, it's brilliant. But people had seen me like that before. I was like, I don't think this movie's as good. So yeah, I guess I just rely on my instincts a lot of that, and then make it really clear to everyone, you know, please don't develop this with us thinking that I'm going to star in it necessarily. Like I'm very honest from the get-go whether that's where my head's at or not.